What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is TimProVision, and today we are breaking down my Apex Legends Season 8 tier list for all of the legends in the game. My list has definitely had a few adjustments from my previous Season 7 list. For me, there are really no D tier legends in the game, and I see nearly every legend having some viability, even if some are way more useful than others. I am ranking these legends on their overall ability to make offensive plays, team composition, and just overall usefulness in the game of Apex. This list is a little bit more geared towards the pub smasher, but I think for the most part, this would apply to ranked as well, with a few adjustments in my B to A tier legends. In case you are wondering how I rate each tier, I think of C tier as average or slightly underwhelming, B tier is good, A tier is amazing, and S tier is the superior or best legends in the game. As always, guys, this is just my opinion, and honestly, how I feel about the legends can change from week to week or even day to day. Don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment down below to let me know which are your favorite legends right now. Starting off with C tier, we have only two legends in this tier, and the first is Rampart, and I put her at C- because honestly, she is still pretty underwhelming for me. I was really looking forward to the Season 8 buffs of Rampart and hoping I could play her a bit more than I previously had. I think the buff to making the turret 180 degrees and the amped walls getting some more health while placing is still a good thing, but overall, her moveset just doesn't fit in with the current meta of Apex Legends. In high tier play, it is a very mobile game, and this playstyle just really isn't viable. However, I do think she can be decent if you are set up in the perfect spot and trying to camp out the final circle placement. I will say another big problem at the moment for Rampart is the fact that they just added the new legend Fuse, whose 25-second tactical can counter her barriers. I do think this is a glitch, but at the moment it is a counter to Rampart, and there are a lot of fuses running around at the moment, which also makes this very troublesome for Rampart. Next, we have Mirage, who I put at C+, and honestly, probably could even be B tier, but for me, Mirage still just doesn't cut it. The addition to the footstep sounds on his clones is a welcome change and a very good adjustment, but still, his tactical is easy to pick out, and even his ultimate is fairly easy to counter if you are going up against any decent player. I think Mirage needs a complete rework and rethink to really get him a bit more viable. I think the ultimate just isn't good enough. I will say though that when you do get those satisfying bamboozles to work, making your enemies feel confused and stupid is honestly some of the most fun I have ever had in Apex Legends. On top of this, the lore and overall charisma of Mirage is some of the best in the game, and I hope I can one day put Mirage a bit higher. I don't know if he needs a complete rework, but I really just want to see Mirage have a little bit more viability so he is a little bit more approachable. Next, we move into B tier, or the legends who I deem are good or more competent in the game. First up at B-, I put the new legend Fuse. After playing about 40 or so hours of Fuse in the first week of Season 8, I started to see that he is a fairly decent legend that has one big flaw for me, and that is the ultimate. If Fuse's ultimate was a bit better, he would be B+ or even A- for me. What does really work well for Fuse in the current meta of the game are his tactical, the Knuckle Cluster, which can nearly counter every object or ability in the game, and then on top of this, the ability to stack a crazy amount of grenades is very useful for higher tier play, where the usefulness and importance of carrying grenades is key. The ultimate for me just suits too slow and is easy to evade and even jump over. The wall of flames, in my opinion, should be a little bit higher so someone can't leave this area when they are on level ground with a small jump. Overall, Fuse is a solid addition to the game. I enjoy playing him, and I can't wait to see where Fuse shakes up in the coming weeks. Moving on from Fuse, we have the ultimate looting legend, Loba. Loba is one of the best legends for making the convenience and pace of play a bit quicker in Apex Legends. I absolutely love when my teammates run Loba due to the ability to quickly get ammo in early or late game, and the ability to honestly just check out entire areas of the map for loot. It's just so nice and just improves the overall quality and the experience of looting. However, Loba really does lack in offensive capabilities. The bracelet can be used for some tactical maneuvers to get the jump or get height on enemies, but overall it is just too slow, loud, and just takes too long to disengage after teleporting. Honestly though, I think this may be okay. I would love to see it be a bit better, but then maybe this would take away of just how special of a looting legend she really is. Not every legend in the game can be the best when it comes to making crazy plays. Loba is in a solid spot, and definitely give her a try if you haven't yet. Next up, we have a handful of legends at B+ tier, meaning for me, they are so close to being A tier and being amazing, but are slightly lacking in some small ways. First, let's talk about Bangalore. Bangalore is honestly a very solid legend, and we have seen many pro players like Shiv play extremely well with her. However, for me, she really is just outclassed by some of the other legends in the game. Her abilities really aren't attuned for crazy offensive plays, even though they do have their moments, and honestly, that is okay. For me, the ultimate, smokes, and passive speed boosts are all great ways for making her a very elusive legend and being harder to hit and kill, but all of these abilities just lack ways to really make those big offensive plays that you could see with the likes of like a Wraith Portal or a Pathfinder Grapple or that kind of thing. I would love to see a small buff or addition to her passive ability. I think the speed boost is a good thing, but I would love to see something else added. Maybe some sort of reload mechanic, a passive reload, that kind of thing. I love playing Bangalore, and she really is a great legend. Our next B+ pick is Revenant. Again, Revenant for me is nearly an A tier legend, and honestly, if you are playing with a pre-made squad, I think Revenant is A tier. However, if you are just picking up Revenant without a dedicated team, then he is going to be B+ tier. The ultimate requires a lot of coordination to make the fullest use out of it, and playing Revenant with randoms just doesn't feel too good. I absolutely love the silence ability, and it is a great way to disorient enemies, block doorways, and just confuse your enemy. Finally, a 1v1 fight against a Revenant is incredibly difficult if they are crouch spamming and strafing at superhuman speeds thanks to that passive ability. Also, the higher climbing capabilities really gives Revenant a bunch of new ways to get the drop on enemies that other legends just can't do, and he is a blast to play. Again, if Revenant's ultimate wasn't so based on good coordination between teammates, then I would give him an A tier rating. And I would like to just give Revenant some props because he is my favorite lore in the game. The lore between Revenant and Loba, I think, is absolutely the best stuff Respawn has done so far. Next up, we have Watson at B+. Watson, in a lot of ways, is such a unique legend, and much like Mirage or Crypto, requires a completely different type of thinking to play her and excel with her. First off, if you are a more passive type of player or trying to grind out RP in mid-tier ranked, then Watson might be one of the best legends for you to control games and really extend the time it takes for enemies to push you. Watson's fences are solid ways to stop enemies from getting to you and can even be used in offensive ways, but at the end of the day, it is all about trying to get the enemies to play into your hand, which is a good thing. The Pylon, in my opinion, might be one of the most underrated ultimates in the game, and is extremely versatile and can be used to stop grenades, stop ultimates, block doors, regenerate shields, and more. There's honestly nothing Watson really does wrong other than the time it takes to set up a huge fencing network, which is a big downfall for me. If Watson was able to throw these fence nodes down, I think it would make her speed of play a bit better, and I think I would be more inclined to rank her a bit higher. Our final B+ legend who has glimpses of being S tier is Lifeline. Lifeline for me has been one of the most underrated and overrated legends in the game. First off, let's discuss my main issue with Lifeline. This is the ultimate ability, the care package. The care package is just plain bad. It takes too long to get, the loot from it is fairly underwhelming based off the time it takes to get it, meaning when you finally do get your first care package, you probably don't need anything from it, and it is extremely revealing to your location. All of these points honestly just make me forget about it, and when I do run Lifeline, I am rarely using it. The best thing when it does come to Lifeline is her revive shield, and when you are using this shield, she instantly does become S tier in my mind. So the main issue at the moment for me is that she is honestly pretty underwhelming till this revive shield comes into play. The care package is underwhelming, so if you are not using the shield or the care package, then really the only ability she has is the healing drone, which is nice but not always helpful. I would love to see a buff or change to the care package and she would instantly become A tier for me. Also, rest in peace fast heals. I'd love to see Respawn embrace her as more of a support type legend and just buff her in that way. Let's now move on to the legends I deem A tier or amazing. Let's start off with my first A- pick, and that is Pathfinder. In a lot of ways, Pathfinder I was expecting to put at S tier, but after some thought, I really think Pathfinder can't be at S tier for a couple reasons. The first issue with Pathfinder is the fact that honestly, right now, he really doesn't have any unique passive ability. Sure, the ability to get reduced zipline cooldowns and instant ziplines from pinging beacons is nice, but that is really not that useful. The second issue is that the zipline is good, but not as useful compared to the other handful of legends with moving abilities like Wraith's Portal or Horizon's tactical ability. What Pathfinder still and always has going for it is that grapple ability. There is still no better feeling in all of the Apex Legends than when you do manage to grapple onto someone and completely obliterate them. I think we will soon see a buff to Pathfinder's passive, and when this does happen, I am expecting him to return to S tier. Our next A- tier legend is Octane. At the start of Season 8 of Apex Legends, Octane saw a huge buff to his launch pad, which means he can now fly further and faster along the ground if you do slide into the pad, or have a much higher arc of travel if you just hit that launch pad. These two ways of play gave Octane exactly what I needed him to get from previous seasons. This is a little bit more of a unique type of playstyle and different ways to switch up how Octane is played. Before this, Octane in my eyes was just too linear of a legend and easy to predict. These launchpad buffs make rotations and opening engagements so satisfying to do and a blast to play. I have played so much Octane over the past few days and week, it is wild. The one issue I do still have with Octane is really that the launchpad does lose a little bit of usefulness at end game when circles do get smaller and you are unable to utilize it in rotations or opening fights. This for me gives Octane a slight knock in his tier rating. One other thing to note is that Octane is a fairly solo type of legend, and his team viability isn't as useful as some of the other legends that are placed above him. The launchpad obviously can be used for your team, but isn't quite the same as, say, a Wraith Portal or a Horizon Tactical. I absolutely love Octane right now, and I am so happy to rate him nearly 10 legends higher than I did last season. Also, I will say one thing for the community out there, guys. You let me know how much you love Octane, and you told me that I should pick him up some more, so I definitely did that, and thank you so much for holding me accountable to how good Octane actually is. Next up at A tier is one of the legends I have more recently realized how good he actually is, and that is Crypto. Crypto recently has been getting picked more and more due to his overall usefulness, and this isn't just by me. He's getting picked widely by a lot of different players. He honestly has nothing wrong with him other than the fact that he does need to be stationary in that drone, even if it is for a brief second. This for me drops him down a partial tier rank. In addition, Crypto doesn't really have a natural passive ability at the moment that isn't tied in with his drone, and I would love to see him actually get a real passive. Other than this, Crypto in my eyes is perfect right now. The ultimate is a great way for weeding out enemies, getting shield damage, destroying traps, and just farming your Evo shield. Crypto can make those clutch banner pickups and instant revives or beacon pings, which is pretty crazy. He can see how many enemies are nearby and provide a remote scan ability to those that don't shoot down the drone right away. All of these abilities honestly give Crypto some of the most usefulness and unique playstyle in all of Apex Legends. Of course, what comes with this is some of the highest skill it takes to play him. I absolutely love Crypto, and if this was just a few months ago, Crypto wouldn't even have made it into my top 10 legends. I can't stress this enough though, if you are new to Crypto, you need to be spending as minimal amount of time in the drone as possible, and you still need to be helping your team out in gunfights. Don't sleep on Crypto and definitely give him a fair chance. Our final A tier legend, who I put at A+ is Caustic. It is absolutely wild how much attention Caustic has been getting over the last season. His gas has honestly been getting used so much to the point where many people think it is being abused too much and is a big pain point for many of the pro scene and professional tournaments that are being played. The gas in a lot of ways can just be used for so many different types of play, and this is really what makes Caustic so versatile. You can break traps with gas, do damage, block doors, stop pushes, create pushes with the gas grenade, use it as cover to revive teammates, use it as a slowdown to laser enemies even more. Caustic at the moment might be the most versatile legend in the game. The only reason that I didn't put him in S tier is the fact that he is a bigger legend, which does come with some benefits, but at the end of the day, it is easier to shoot him. And if you are not using the gas and you are in a one-on-one fight, then I think Caustic does get a little bit of a loss compared to some of the other legends that are above him. I'm kind of expecting some nerf to Caustic very soon, so be sure to use him while he is still insane. We have now reached the S tier legends, and these really aren't in any particular order, so I am going to start off with the big baddie himself, Gibraltar. There's a reason why nearly every high tier ranked team or professional tournament has a Gibraltar, and that is the simple fact that he is an absolute beast. Much like Caustic, Gibraltar is also very versatile, but he does have the edge in close range fights, which is why he is S tier for me. For his abilities, the ultimate can wipe an enemy if they do stand in it, which is very unsuspecting for some players. The Dome Shield is an absolute great way to rotate your team, get revives, and heal a little bit faster. And finally, Gibraltar's Gun Shield also provides him with a virtual 50 extra health, which is absolutely just insane and honestly is kind of broken. Close range massive fights or gunfights with a Gibraltar almost always can do in the favor of the Gibraltar. There's honestly nothing really wrong with Gibby at the moment, and I am expecting that his gun shield is actually going to get a nerf very soon. The next S tier legend is Bloodhound. What can I say about Bloodhound that you don't probably already know? The speed boost from the ultimate and the highlighting capabilities are so good at tracking enemies down and chasing down those that are trying to run away. It's also great for making plays and just getting nearly complete awareness when the ultimate is up. This brings us to the point that the scanning ability is just so easy to use and is so important for tracking enemies down and getting the drop on them. It's crazy how easy Bloodhound is to play with how much usefulness they can give to their team. These buffs occurred at the launch of Season 6, and 2 full seasons later, Bloodhound is still an absolute powerhouse. Bloodhound also makes farming rank points very easy, as scanning does provide assist points, and you'll pretty much always find a Bloodhound on enemy teams in ranked because of this. I love Bloodhound, and they are one of the 3 legends that I main the most. Our second to last legend to talk about is the tried and true with one of the highest pick rates and win rates, and that is Wraith. Wraith has seen a fair amount of nerfs over the past 2 to 3 seasons, but she is still picked up and used in ways that make her an absolute asset to the team. Going over her abilities quickly, the passive is a great way at being able to tell when enemies are about to push you or shoot at you, and that is super helpful for yourself and your team. The tactile is a great way at escaping out of fights and overall transportation across the maps. And finally, the ultimate is one of the most tried and true abilities for allowing rotations during all stages of the game. Wraith saw a nerf to her hitbox size in Season 7, and I'm expecting that it won't really matter too much and she will still be picked up. I will say though, Wraith in my eyes is getting dangerously close to being a little bit less usable due to the way the game is being played. The longer ending circles was a slight nerf to her portal, and the constant nerfs to her makes me feel as if she could be getting near the end of her days in being a top contender, but as of right now, she is still an absolute legend. And finally, the last S tier legend for us to talk about is Horizon. Horizon has successfully made it from one season to the next without getting a huge nerf, and this in my eyes really means she is going to be around for a while. The air maneuverability and overall movement with Horizon is so satisfying to play, and she is also found on nearly every team in the higher tier ranked. The tactical is quite useful for rotations as well, and allows for engagements that just weren't possible before her introduction at the start of Season 7. The black hole in my eyes is fairly underwhelming, but at the end of the day, if you time this black hole with some teammates' grenades, you are going to melt enemy teams that can't escape it. And while the black hole is easy to destroy, it still takes a valuable second or 2 for enemies to destroy it, and I often find this is enough time for me to get the drop on enemies. Horizon is quite unique compared to some of the other legends in the game, and I am excited to see how she plays out in the new Kings Canyon map and in the meta of Season 8 of Apex Legends. There's no surprise or secret that 3 of the top 4 S tier legends for me all have absolute insane movement, and this is really just how important movement is in Apex Legends. There's no other game out there, in my opinion, that feels as good to just run around as it is in Apex Legends. Let me know in the comments, who are your go-to legends right now? I'm curious to see what is working for all of you. And as always, if you'd like to chat anything more about Apex Legends, be sure to drop into one of the Twitch streams, which are nearly daily, or stop into the community Discord. Links are all down below. Be sure to hit that like button. Until next time, I hope you have a great day. Peace out.